is WrestleMania week, and it is time for me to give all of my predictions, including on matches that have not been officially announced for WrestleMania 41. But first, make sure you guys are following me on my Twitch, twitch.tv/HillJosh. Make sure you guys have that notification bell turned on so you know when I go live, because I'm going to be live on Twitch for Raw, NXT, Dynamite, SmackDown, maybe even Collision and TNA Unbreakable this week, as well, of course, as the Hall of Fame, WrestleMania, both nights, Stand and Deliver. I'm going to be live reacting on Twitch, as well as right here on YouTube. So make sure you guys are subscribed here on YouTube. Have the notifications turned on so you know when I go live here as well, because I'm going to be live on YouTube as well for almost every single wrestling event when it comes to WWE this week, as well as a bit more. So again, make sure you guys are subscribed here on YouTube, are following on Twitch, have those notifications turned on so you know when I go live. And all my reactions this week are going to mainly be on my Instagram. I will be posting to TikTok as well, but make sure you guys are following my Instagram. It's HillJosh, because that's where for sure you will see my reactions to WrestleMania, Stand and Deliver, and everything else. So go follow it. I will be posting the WrestleMania reactions to the TikTok, but I did lose another TikTok account this weekend due to copyright. Thanks, UFC. That's my fault for posting the reactions for it, but I really didn't think I was going to get copywritten for it because I had never had in the past, but UFC got my other account taken down. So now we're going to have a new account. Links in the description for the TikTok to follow for the reactions for WrestleMania, but to make sure you see all of them, go follow the Instagram. Now let's go ahead and jump into all of my WrestleMania predictions. As of right now, there is 13 confirmed matches for both nights of WrestleMania. And I am going to go ahead and start these predictions by starting with the Saturday matches and then going into the Sunday matches. But I will be including matches that I think will be happening that have yet to be announced. And I'm looking at you, Randy Orton. So let's go ahead and jump right into my predictions. The first match that I'm going to talk about is for the WWE World Tag Team Championships. And it's going to be the War Raiders versus the New Day. Now, of course, the New Day turned heel earlier this year, turning on Big E in a great segment on Monday Night Raw that I was really excited to see where it was leading to. Here we are months later, and not much has changed. We're still waiting to see what it leads to, but I guess I mean, it's good because the New Day are getting a World Tag Team title opportunity against the War Raiders, Eric and Ivar, at WrestleMania. Now, I am happy that the Raw Tag title is on WrestleMania this year, but honestly, the SmackDown Tag Division has been cooking on a whole nother level compared to Monday Night Raw. So one would think that because of that, the SmackDown titles or the WWE Tag Team titles would be on WrestleMania as well. Guess what? They're not. They're not, even though that tag division has been cooking with some great storylines. So I am bummed that they are not getting on here, but I am still excited for the War Raiders. But if we had to choose one or the other to put on WrestleMania, to me, it would have been MCMG versus Street Profits, which is happening this Friday on SmackDown instead of WrestleMania. But you know what? I think at this point, I'm pretty much used to it because Andre the Giant been regulated to what they're now referring to as WrestleMania SmackDown. So I'm not too shocked that this title match is happening at SmackDown before Mania, but it is a bit bummer since it's been the more prestigious title in my opinion. Now, as to who I think is going to win between these two, again, I was just talking about how the New Day turned heel earlier this year. It kind of slowed down after the Big E segment, and I feel like the New Day have been regulated to the Netflix commercials or the Netflix segments, where here in the US, the majority of us don't even get to see those. I feel like there is not as much hype for this matchup compared to what we're getting with the Profits and MCMG on Friday, so I would have flip-flopped them around, no problem. It should be a fantastic match. Now, with the New Day turning heel, are they gonna cheat to win? And actually, I don't think that they'll win. I got the War Raiders walking out as your World Tag Team Champions. I think the New Day will do everything in their power to cheat, but I will have a dark horse answer here because I haven't seen anyone saying this. I wouldn't be too surprised if somehow, some way, we see Big E come out and help the New Day get the win. I know that would be crazy, but I don't see anyone talking about that. I don't think that's exactly what's going to happen. I still have the War Raiders getting the WrestleMania moment, getting their victory. But could you imagine Big E coming out, everyone cheering, thinking that he's going to help take away weapons or whatever the heck the New Day are doing to try to cheat to win, and then he helps the New Day. Could you just imagine the heat? Oh man, I kind of hope that's what they do now. But I'm going to go with the War Raiders over the New Day at WrestleMania 41 for the World Tag Team Champions. Now on to a rather controversial matchup that's going down at WrestleMania, at least according to some in the IWC. Rey Mysterio goes one-on-one with El Grande Americano, which some, myself included, will say that El Grande Americano is Chad Gable. We know it's you, Chad. Now, El Grande Americano has been controversial in the IWC since its character debuted because it is a white man portraying a luchador. Of course, luchadors are wrestlers either from Mexico or a Latino heritage, Hispanic heritage, and they represent Mexico or the lucha libre wrestling. And of course, with Chad Gable under this gimmick, we got the little people who are a little offended about it. Obviously, WWE did say he was from the Gulf of America, which, as a Hispanic man, a Latino man, I found this whole thing in that video package hysterical. I was crying, and I was like deathly sick during this. I wasn't really deathly sick, but I was sick, pretty fucking sick during this segment, and I thought it was hysterical. And I saw a lot of other IWC members who are Latino, who are Hispanic heritage, who found this thing hilarious and entertaining. But of course, a lot of other people didn't, and you know what? That just caused a lot of people not to be interested in this match at WrestleMania. Now, me, on the other hand, of course, since I found it hilarious, I'm actually really excited for this matchup. I think Chad Gable is going to get a great WrestleMania moment. Do I think he's going to win? No. I think that this might end up turning into a mask versus mask match, and Ray wins, having to unmask Chad Gable, or I should say El Grande Americano, and it turns out to be Chad Gable, and oh my god, his whole gimmick's ruined, and he goes back to Chad. And I know a lot of people want El Grande Americano or Chad Gable to get that WrestleMania moment. I do too, but I truly believe the WWE is going the way of Rey Mysterio getting the victory, demasking Chad Gable, and making him go back to being himself, instead of a gimmick that he really doesn't need to beat these luchadors. I mean, we're seeing him win as El Grande Americano because he is using more lucha libre moves against these lucha. He could just be Chad Gable and use the same moveset, but he is so silly and dumb in his head at the moment that he feels that he needs the mask to get these wins. And he's proven that he doesn't, because he could do it the same thing without the mask. So at the end of the day, who do I got? Rey Mysterio, El Grande Americano. At the end of the day, I think it's mask versus mask. I think Rey Mysterio gets the win. That is my prediction for this matchup. Now, again, I've seen some people virtue signal online about the El Grande Americano gimmick, saying, oh, Latinos and Hispanics need to band together, yada, yada. And it turns out those people aren't even Hispanic or Latino. They're a different heritage, and they're speaking for us. Don't do that. That's not okay. Another match going down on Saturday is Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Now, I'm super hyped for this matchup. This is a singles matchup for these women, and it's a non-title match. We very rarely get singles non-title matches for the women at WrestleMania. It's either the title matches for the world or the world heavyweight, or it's been the women's tag titles in their multi-people matches, or if it's a non-title women match, it's some type of multi-person matchup like a 6-woman tag. We are getting a straight one-on-one between Jade and Naomi at WrestleMania. Now, I know there's still people who think that Bianca may somehow get involved in this, with her match being on Sunday now confirmed. I do not see Bianca getting involved in this Naomi and Jade Cargill match one bit. I think they've brought it up a few times, but I think because they've brought it up just a very little in storyline leading up to this matchup, that's what to me proves that she won't be involved in this at all. And they really haven't used her in any way, shape, or form in this feud besides her and her own storyline in the Triple Threat, talking about, yeah, I had the issues with my friends, having the issues, and it's hurt me a lot, you know, going into this match. So there's the little connections, but they haven't focused enough on it to make me believe that Bianca's going to get involved in this at all. So on to the matchup, Jade Cargill and Naomi. I actually expect this to be pretty solid. Jade Cargill has improved a lot in the last year, and I thought she was really good in AEW prior to being in WWE, but she's definitely improved, fitting that WWE style more. She was out for quite a bit of time, but it's good to have her back and in a singles match at this year's Mania. And of course, Naomi has been on a tear since she returned to the WWE last year. She's been the best she's ever been in ring promos, especially now as a heel. I'm loving the caution gimmick that she's running. It reminds me of Owen Hart. Enough is enough. It's time for a change. That type of caution. He always had the caution gear, so that's what it really reminds me of. I'm super hyped for Naomi and Jade. This feud, while it hasn't been gotten the most TV time, I think has been one of the better telling stories and feuds going into WrestleMania. Now, I'm a little surprised that this isn't a gimmick match, since it started with Naomi brutalizing Jade, pushing her on top of a car, and just leaving her for dead, basically. So I did expect this to have more of a gimmick behind it, like a hardcore match or something, but obviously it still has time to become that. We still have a Raw and SmackDown before then where they could put some type of gimmick to it. But at the end of the day, I think Jade Cargill will get the big win here over Naomi. As much as I would like Naomi to get her WrestleMania moment in singles action against Jade Cargill, I think it makes the most sense for Jade, who was attacked by Naomi, who was jealous of her, all this stuff. Jade will get that win, and I think push Naomi back down a peg or two. As much as I love you, Naomi, I think Jade is dead set on beating your ass. But Naomi, you are doing the best work, I think, ever in the WWE, and I'm excited to see you for the rest of the year, even though you're more than likely about to get your ass whooped at WrestleMania. We continue talking about WrestleMania Saturday with this next matchup in Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight for the US title. Yeah. Now this one I think is pretty straightforward, at least in my opinion. Jacob Fatu has been on a tear since joining the WWE last year, whether it be with Solo or the Bloodline or without. That man has just been dangerous no matter who he's facing. He's had a great feud with Braun Strowman and so much more. And I'm really excited that he's getting a straight one-on-one match against LA Knight at WrestleMania. I actually thought this would be a multi-man match for the US title in some way, shape, or form. But I am so happy that they got it down to just Jacob. I think Jacob needs this win at WrestleMania. He has lost a few multi-man matches, but when it comes to singles matches, this man looks like a machine. So I do think Jacob Fatu defeats LA Knight at WrestleMania. I actually wouldn't be surprised if this match is only less than 10 minutes. Like if it's an 8-minute match. I do think it's possible that Solo Sakoa gets involved in this match. May accidentally cost Jacob the US title, but I don't think they're gonna go that route. I think it's an option. I wouldn't be like deathly shocked if that happens. Like, oh my God, I can't, oh my God. Like, no, I will sit there and just be like, you know what? This was an option on the table and I'm glad they're going with it. But I do think Jacob needs the clean win on his own because I think he's just been on that tear and we need to push him to that next level. And that US title for Jacob Fatu is the next level. Of course, LA Knight had his big WrestleMania match last year against AJ Styles, got a big win. So I don't think losing to Jacob in any way, shape, or form hurts him. He obviously hasn't had the US title on this second run for a super long time, but I will say it has been a better run than Shinsuke's. And Shinsuke, I love you, man, but what was that run, Hunter? So Jacob Fatu is your new US champion. He's going to walk out with that title, and I think eventually it's going to lead to him controlling Solo even more than he is kind of now. He's going to make Solo his bitch, even bigger than he is now. So what are your thoughts? LA Knight, Jacob Fatu for the US title. Who's walking out? Does Solo get involved, or does Jacob win clean? At WrestleMania, in shocking news, we are going to see Sabrina Carpenter go one-on-one for the women's championship against that's Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton. Oh my God, you could have confused me. Fuck. Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair go one-on-one for the WWE Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Charlotte Flair won the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble. She immediately chose Tiffany Stratton within a week or two after winning the Royal Rumble, and the feud was pretty lackluster. It mainly started with Tiffany in matches where she'd end up getting beat down by Charlotte after the match, and honestly, these weren't that entertaining of a way to get me into this feud. And that was kind of all we got for weeks. But a few weeks ago, we saw that infamous promo where Tiffany Stratton went very personal against Charlotte Flair, talking about she's 0-3 in real life relationships and how that basically no one wants to be with her. It was pretty vicious beat down on the mic from Tiffany Stratton, and the crowd visibly upset Charlotte before Tiffany said a lot of the very, very brutally honest things about Charlotte. This crowd was shitting all over her in Chicago, and Charlotte seemed visibly flustered. Like she literally didn't know what to do when the crowd was just shitting all over anything she said. She ended up making fun of Tiffany's high-pitched voice, and it just felt so out of character at the time. Like it just didn't fit what was happening, which made me believe that like what is happening in this promo is she's visibly, you know, rattled. And then again, Tiffany went on to say those lines she said. Of course, Charlotte rebutted with, "Is that why Ludwig's in my DM?" line. It was obviously super personal between the two and wasn't supposed to happen on that show, which eventually came out from the dirt sheets that was super personal, that weren't booked to say what they said, and there was some heat between the two backstage and amongst I guess creative little mad. I don't think they got big mad, but there was some talk that creative was a little upset that they went off script there. But honestly, it made me way more interested in this feud. I was not that interested based off just Charlotte always beating down Tiffy, and then they had a few segments where they were backstage and they had like the sit down interview where Charlotte just basically shit all over Tiffany and made Tiffany look like dumb. Like Tiffany just looked like she couldn't talk against Charlotte in that promo. Like I feel like what Tiffany did in the ring in Chicago was justified, okay? So at the end of the day, I'm more interested now based off of what's happened the last few weeks than what they were doing prior to them going off script. And I think that this match could be really good. And I actually am going to stick with my prediction I had since Charlotte has won the Royal Rumble. And that's Tiffany Stratton defeats Charlotte Flair and retains the Women's Championship at WrestleMania. I see no benefit, personally, to me, storyline-wise, for Charlotte defeating Tiffany at all. I think it will just hurt Tiffany. It'll set her back. We'll have to build her back up, make her believable as a main eventer. And honestly, her title run hasn't been that entertaining until the Charlotte stuff. I'm hoping that she gets the big win over Charlotte. They move her on to the next feud, maybe a rematch with Nia, which honestly, now that I think about it, scrap that. Let's move on to something new after the Charlotte stuff. Let's make Tiffany feel like that big main eventer that I know she is, and I think she felt like it in Chicago. So Tiffany Stratton over Charlotte Flair. Boom! Boom! Bucket Hunter. Gunther. He is taking on Jey Uso. Yay, your Royal Rumble men's winner for 2025, which was shocking, obviously. I think I did a Royal Rumble review, and I don't think really that many people expected Jey to win. So he ends up choosing Gunther, and this story build has actually been really, really good in my opinion. It started off with Gunther saying he was going to make Jey's life a living hell if he were to choose him. Jey eventually chose him, and Gunther kind of did the Charlotte thing, just beat him down. But they actually gave us a reason why, which made this that much more entertaining than the Charlotte Tiffany beatdowns. It was because Gunther said, if you pick me because you don't deserve to face me at WrestleMania, I will make your life a living hell, because that's not what should be happening right now. And that's what Jey made happen. So Gunther lived up to what he said. He started making Jey's life a living hell. And I loved this build. I loved how much Gunther doubted Jey, but also showed that he is concerned and knows he's a threat because of how behind him the fans are. And that makes him dangerous. That just brings Jey to another level in the ring when the crowd is as into him as they are right now. And Gunther knows that. And instead of saying, I am fearful that you can defeat me at Mania, he is doing everything in his power to make Jey believe he can't. And that is smart as hell for Gunther. Get in the head, play those mind games, try to get the win before the match even begins. But Jey Uso has done as good as he can to prevent Gunther from really fully taking control over him leading into this WrestleMania match. But of course, we did see Jimmy Uso stick up for Jey a few weeks ago, which led to the brutal beatdown from Gunther after the match he had with Jimmy. Jey, of course, tried to come out and save him after Gunther went to the back. Gunther comes back out and destroys Jimmy, leaves him in a crimson mask, as Jim Ross would say. Jey Uso gets handcuffed or zip tied to the ropes, and he has one arm free so he could slightly reach, almost touch his brother Jimmy to help him, but Gunther bloodies him and chokes him out in front of him while he can do nothing, which led to a great promo last Monday from Jey Uso, probably one of the best of his career, where he confronted Gunther about it, talking about family, getting very personal, asking him questions about his family, and you could tell it was rattling Gunther. This whole build has been one of my favorite builds going into this year's WrestleMania. So, Jey Uso, with all of this build, will he get it done? In my opinion, yes. Jey Uso will dethrone Gunther. Now I know what you're thinking. No, we can't have Gunther go 1-2 at Mania, Josh. I don't think it'll be a bad thing if he loses to Jey Uso. They've done this story really well, where I think even if he does get the win at WrestleMania, Gunther won't look bad in it. And I expect this match to be a really good match. Even though Jey is not main eventing, this will be either the opener of night one, I think, or the co-main event of night one before the triple threat is my prediction. I still think that this match will be a banger. I don't think it hurts it that it's not a main event, even though Jey won the Royal Rumble. I think Jey will make this match feel like a main event match. I could see it kind of being like Sami Zayn and Gunther from last year. It was the co-main event in night one. Sami got the win, even though it was shocking on that long Intercontinental title reign loss for Gunther. It didn't hurt Gunther at all. He ended up winning King of the Ring and going on to winning the World Heavyweight title 4 or 5 months later. So I don't expect something like that again for Gunther this year. I mean, you never know, never say never, but I think Jey will get the win, and I feel like they'll do it just right to make Gunther still look strong after the match. And now, our main event of night one. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, triple threat. And remember, triple threats mean no DQ. Anything can happen in this matchup. Weapons, run-ins, you name it. It can happen because there is no DQ here. Now, this build has been really interesting, as Paul Heyman will be in the corner of CM Punk and not the OTC Roman Reigns, because that was CM Punk's favor, to have Paul Heyman in his corner and not Roman Reigns. And I thought that that was definitely where we were going after the steel cage match. When we saw Punk in the cage with Paul, Roman made his way out, and before he fully hit the ring, he saw them together in the ring, Paul checking on Punk, and you could tell the OTC despised that. Roman eventually went in there, took care of both men, Seth and Punk, setting up the triple threat for Mania. And from that point on, I was like, he's gonna ask Paul to be in his corner for Mania. That is exactly where they're going with this, and that's where they went with it. And they did it really well, the way Punk explained the history of him and Heyman, about their lifelong friendship they've had. If it wasn't for Paul, he wouldn't be where he is today. He would have been fired really soon in his WWE career if it wasn't for Paul, but Paul stuck his neck out for him and wouldn't release him, and just all of what Punk did for Paul, which led to this moment for Punk, who did a lot for Paul last year, getting Paul in his corner. And Paul accepted it before he even knew it. Was it 2 Mondays ago, a Monday ago, when Punk was set to reveal the favor, Paul was set on doing it, that he said backstage while he was waiting for the OTC that, I will do whatever it is. And that was before Punk revealed what it was in the ring. And once they went to the ring and he revealed it in front of Roman and Seth, Roman was laughing like, let this man down. And Paul was like, I can't do that. And it was great. It was a great segment. I saw there was people upset. They wanted Punk to be put into the Cody Cena match, which that makes no sense to me. How would Paul have the power to do that? Paul goes suck off Hunter in the back, just gluck gluck 3000. I really don't know how that would have made more sense than what we got, because Paul doesn't have that type of power. And yeah, he could have went backstage and Hunter, if you do this, I'll do that. You know what I mean? I don't fucking know. But at the end of the day, I am actually happy with the favor we got. And now let's talk about Seth Rollins in this matchup. Seth Rollins this past Monday almost attacked Paul Heyman, didn't stop him. He faked out stomped him, and then he told Paul, well, now you owe me a favor now that I didn't murder your ass, basically. A lot of people are actually stuck on this. I've seen a lot of people on IWC on Twitter in my comment sections. So what is the favor going to be for Seth? There's not going to be a favor for Seth. Now, I see a lot of people saying that this could all be leading to Paul joining Seth, and I actually could see that happening. I could see this story leading to that. But this is what I think it's leading to. At WrestleMania, the triple threat is going to be insane. There's going to be weapons, there's going to be run-ins, there's going to be all kinds of craziness. I don't know who will run in, but I mean, I feel like someone has to. It's a no DQ match, and Roman's pretty synonymous with people running in, right? But I do think that at some point in the match, Punk and Roman are going to be going at it. Both men are going to ask Paul to do something, help them in some way, shape, or form, or back him up somehow, some way during the match. And Paul's going to be doing his crying face, his stunned face. He's not going to know what to do. And I think he just eventually walks out of the match, leaves all three men to settle it for themselves, to set up a future story with Paul and Roman and Punk that could lead to maybe even a singles match at Backlash in May. I don't know. I do think Paul won't pick a side once he's ringside. He'll come out with Punk, but I don't think he's going to help Seth. I don't think he'll help Punk. I don't think he'll help Roman. I think he's going to be torn between helping Punk and Roman and just have enough of being pulled from side to side and be like, fuck this, I'm going backstage. That's my prediction on it. Does he turn and join Seth? I think that's actually a possibility, especially after Monday. I really think it's more of a possibility, but that's my prediction on this match. Now, as for who wins, I've been going back and forth between Punk and Roman on this, but at the end of the day, I think CM Punk is going to get the big win. He hasn't had a WrestleMania match since WrestleMania 29 against The Undertaker, where he lost. I think he'll get the win here. I think the triple threat makes it a lot more easy to have any three win and for it to make sense. So I wouldn't be shocked for any of these three to win. Like, I won't be like, oh my God, it wasn't Punk, it was Roman, or it was... I could see all three getting the win in some way, shape, or form, but I am dead set on my prediction being CM Punk getting his first WrestleMania win in a very long time in the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania. And that's all my picks for night 1. Let's jump into night 2. But first, with it being WrestleMania week, WWE Shop has a ton of great deals. But did you know I am a WWE Shop Fanatics affiliate? If you hit this link down below that I'm showing on screen right now, it'll take you to the WWE Shop website. And if you purchase anything, it'll kick back some funds to me. So if you're looking to get anything from WWE Shop for your favorite superstar, you can support your favorite wrestler while also supporting me by using my WWE Shop and Fanatics link. So make sure you guys click that link and go get your awesome WrestleMania WWE Shop merch right now. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/HeelJosh. I will be live reacting to Raw, NXT, Dynamite, SmackDown. We're going to be doing a simulation of the WrestleMania card in 2K25 on Thursday. We might even react to Collision and TNA Unbreakable on Thursday. We got the Hall of Fame. We got Stand and Deliver. We got both nights of Mania. We got SmackDown. We got everything happening this week. We got Be More Grim coming this Friday. So make sure you guys are following me, twitch.tv/HeelJosh. Make sure notifications are turned on, as well as sub to me here on YouTube, because I will be live for the majority of those as well here on my YouTube. I go live on here. So make sure you guys are subbed, have notifications turned on, and let's get ready for WrestleMania week. And now let's jump into my night 2 predictions for WrestleMania. WrestleMania night 2 on Sunday, April 20th. Yeah, all my fellow smokers out there, stand up and unite. We gonna be lit. But it's also Easter, so to all my religious people, so it's gonna be a crazy day since it's a holiday in Easter and 420. On top of WrestleMania night 2, as I just said a bit ago, my homie Bmar Grimm, I went with him to WrestleMania last year in Philadelphia. He is flying into Colorado, so he will be here live reacting with me, so it's going to be crazy on 420. I feel like I'm probably going to miss a lot of stuff, if you know what I'm saying, because I am not going to be watching in this seat. I'm going to be on Mars, and I'm going to be trying to tune in to the WWE Network and be like, hey, man, it says that I don't live in America no more, man. Anyways, point being, I'm going to be lit. But I'm not going to be lit only for the green. I'm going to be lit because my girl Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defend the women's tag team titles at WrestleMania in an interesting match against Lyra Valkyria, the current women's intercontinental champion, and Bayley. Now, I've talked about this a lot on my stream, and I think the majority of the IWC agrees on this. Bayley and Lyra should not be in this match. They should have a match, but it shouldn't be taking your women's intercontinental champion and not having her defend the intercontinental championship in its first ever WrestleMania. Not only that, you're putting a champion going for another championship, which is fine, but this women's division is so deep that you don't need to do this. They started this whole storyline with a women's gauntlet tag team matchup, but what made this weird was Bayley and Lyra have been basically feuding. I mean, they had Bayley and Lyra on last Monday for the women's IC title, but then they were a team in the gauntlet on Friday. It was almost like a backwards version of Can They Coexist? Like they had the match first and then they coexisted afterwards, which I feel like maybe we've had happen in wrestling, but like that was so weird to me and it doesn't really add up. So Bayley, obviously I'm glad that she's out WrestleMania. Same with Lyra, but just put them for the IC title. Even right now, we don't even think the women's US title is happening at Mania. They're doing a 6-woman tag the night before on Friday. I mean, they could still add Zelina and Chelsea. I just don't think that one is the match that gets added. I do have a match that they haven't announced that I think gets added, but we'll talk about that here in a moment. So at the end of the day, I don't think this should have been Bayley and Lyra. And I was also a bit disappointed that they just dominated every tag team in the gauntlet. And I don't mean like they like just beat them all in like 30 seconds dominated. They won every single gauntlet match. They started and finished the gauntlet. They beat every team. You had Kate and Katana. You had Zoe and Shayna. You had established tag teams who have been together for months/years, and they beat them in their first ever tag match to get a tag title opportunity. That's crazy to me, especially when they had like slowly been revitalizing that women's tag division. You're just going to kill it all. Bayley and Lyra coming in, never teaming up before, and beating all these established teams. Crazy booking and my thinking, but they do what they do. And obviously this is just to get Lyra and Bayley on the Mania card. I feel like they could have done it some other way, but this is how they did it. I do think Liv and Raquel walk out retaining. I really don't think Lyra will become double champ and Bayley become women's tag champ again. I do have Liv and Raquel retaining, and I don't know who will dethrone them, but that is my pick here, Liv and Raquel Rodriguez. Now, Randy Orton had been feuding for months with Kevin Owens. It was building up to this match at WrestleMania, but unfortunately, Kevin Owens is now dealing with a neck injury that's going to keep him out for an extended period of time. No timetable on his return. There's even rumors that he may not make it to Mania next year. This is really disappointing because this has been one of the best stories, and Kevin Owens has been one of the best characters in the last year and a half, 2 years in WWE. He's just been the most realistic feeling character. Everything he says when he talks promos makes sense, regardless if he's a heel or a face. You're just kind of like, you know what? He's kind of right. No matter what he's saying right now, no matter how I feel about him, he's kind of right, even though he's a dick. So hopefully Kevin Owens is able to return to pro wrestling in general. Neck injuries can be super serious. I mean, look at Big E, look at Edge, look at Lita, and so many other names, Tyson Kidd. Neck injuries, spinal injuries should always be taken very seriously, even by the fans. Like, look at Chris Bay. He took a simple move that he's taken many times, and you know, a little bit of mistiming in it, and now was paralyzed for a short period. Luckily, his emergency surgery and the doctors and everything else and all the prayers have helped him be able to start walking again, which is a great story. But neck injuries need to be taken more serious by the IWC, by the fan base, because I always get questions about Big E even to this day. And then a lot of people even think injuries are fake when it comes to this stuff. There was a lot of people questioning if this was storyline to kind of trick us. No, unfortunately, it's not. It's all realistic. Kevin's talked about this in many interviews since announcing it. He did CVV amongst many other interviews this past week and a half or 2 weeks. And he's not going to be in the match against Randy Orton, which sucks because it was one of the best storylines going in. But, of course, they've been talking Randy still getting a match. He RKO'd Nick Aldis. There's some people thinking it's going to be Aldis. That is not my pick. I think they made it very clear on Friday that it is going to be Solo Sakoa. They had Solo and Tama interrupt Randy on Friday, eventually setting up a tag match where they brawl to the back, Solo and Randy. So that is 100% going to be the match. Solo Sakoa, Randy Orton at WrestleMania. And which is really cool for Solo. Solo has been on the main roster for quite a while, and the last 2 Manias he was at but didn't have a match. He was just participating in the Bloodline stuff for Roman both nights. Now this year, it looks like at first he wasn't going to get a match. Jacob got that match over him, but now Solo seemingly, I'm predicting that that's the match for Randy Orton. We'll be facing him one-on-one, and I expect Randy Orton to get the win. A lot of people are speculating, oh, it could be like an open challenge, you know, with returning Rusev and Aleister Black. Of course, the vignettes have been playing for Black, but those vignettes have been saying 425, which is next Friday, the Friday after Mania. So I don't think that they're going to push and rush him up just to lose to Randy Orton at Mania, and I don't think they want Randy to lose to Aleister or Rusev. So I think Solo is the perfect fit to keep Randy going. Who knows where they go here from Randy, since the story with Owens is going to be over for the foreseeable future. Solo Sakoa, Randy Orton, I definitely expect that to happen this weekend, more than likely on Sunday, since right now they only have 6 matches announced for Sunday compared to Saturday's 7. So Solo Randy, and I got Randy getting the dub. Logan Paul once again has a WrestleMania match this year. It'll be against the phenomenal AJ Styles one-on-one. Now, it was a little confusing, the AJ's direction going into this year's WrestleMania. They seemingly were going to put him in the IC title match, but they just kind of stopped doing that, and now he's going up against Logan Paul. Now, Logan's had some really great matches in the WWE. For being a man who's never been a part of pro wrestling until the last 4-ish years, it's crazy to how good he was when he arrived and how good he continues to be. Last year, he was in a triple threat against Randy and Kevin for the US title at WrestleMania, where he retained. He's been in tag matches at Mania and a whole lot more. This man continues to impress me every time he steps foot into the squared circle. Now, I do wish AJ was in the IC title feud, because I was really enjoying that build up with Braun Breaker, but him and Logan Paul should be a good match. And I will say, it's kind of weird when you look back at AJ's WrestleMania catalog. He's had such a wide variety of different matches, like different spots on the card and different buildups, that like it's just one of the more wild ones. Like he's had a tag team match at Mania with Omos where they won the tag titles. Match with The Undertaker, the cinematic match, that was insane. And honestly, out of all of this, when it comes to actual in-ring matches at Mania, I'd probably go on a limb and say his best match was Shane McMahon at Mania. He's wrestled Randy amongst others at Mania, but I really feel like just one of the craziest catalogs. And when you go through it all, you're like, man, I feel like he needed bigger matches at Mania. And I kind of feel like that this year. As much as, again, as I've praised Logan Paul, I really wished he was in that IC title match, AJ over this match. But what else can I say besides, I think this will be a good match. I think at the end of the day, AJ will get the win over Logan Paul. Logan Paul's WrestleMania record will continue to be abysmal with his only win from last year. And I got AJ with the win. The hype for this match has not really been there for me. The storyline hasn't really been the worst, but it also hasn't really attracted me into like, man, I cannot wait for that match at WrestleMania. I think it will be good. Maybe it'll end up being better than I expect it to be. I think it'll be good for what it needs to be. I just don't have a lot of hype going into it, but I got AJ Styles walking out the winner here. Since we were talking about the IC title, we'll jump right into my prediction for the Fatal 4-Way. Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and Penta. Now, if you follow me on my lives on Twitch and YouTube and TikTok, you know my stance on multi-man matches at Mania, especially if it's for a singles title. I think WrestleMania, when they say Showcase of Immortals, doesn't mean Immortal versus Immortal versus Immortal versus Immortal all in one match. To me, the Showcase of Immortals is one-on-one matches. Your best of your best fighting it out. Now, you could always make the case this is the best versus the best versus the best versus the best. But I just feel like WrestleMania has become a participation trophy at this point. We have XYZ signed. We need to get them on. We pay them this much. We had this in their contract, yada, yada, yada. We have to get them on. That's what a lot of the time WrestleMania has felt like to me for a lot of the matches the last few years with the 2-night format. Get this guy on. We pay them a lot of money. They've been in a lot of... To me, your guys who've been killing it all year, the best storyline should be at Mania. You should be rewarding all of them. I get it. WrestleMania is 2 nights now, so that's why it's like this, and there's probably no stopping and changing that anytime soon. But that's just how I feel about it. So on to my thoughts on this match. As much as I think, I'd rather have one-on-one for the IC title, I think they've done a really great job of building this up. Obviously, Dom and Finn have been basically butting heads for months since last year. It's been going on for quite some time. Even before Drew and Rhea left Judgment Day, they felt like they really didn't get along much. And now more so that Liv's involved, they really don't get along. And I feel like they've really antagonized each other throughout the last few months, even more so. And I really think that we will see the implosion of the Judgment Day at WrestleMania. I don't know if we'll see JD McDonough return. You know, he's out with the punctured lung and broken ribs, so that could take quite a while to return from. But I really think that we'll see either Finn get fully kicked out of the Judgment Day here, or we just see the full implosion of the Judgment Day here, and everyone is essentially going to go their own ways. We'll see maybe JD and Finn stay together, but I think Liv and and Raquel and Dom will kind of stay together. Maybe we'll see Carlito go his own way, or I don't know. But I do think that this will be the end of the Judgment Day at WrestleMania. But I don't think either of them even walk out with the IC title. As happy as I would be for Dominic, as happy as I would be for Finn, I don't see either of them leaving with the Intercontinental title. Now, with Penta coming into the WWE earlier this year, of course, his brother Phoenix has recently joined on SmackDown as well. Penta has looked great. They have built him up well, and I think this is the best they've done for building someone up for a mid-card title besides Jacob Fatu. Penta has won tons of matches, and they haven't just been domination matches where he's just totally dominated and outclassed his opponent. He's had great matches, back and forth matches that make him look like a crazy big stud, and I'm super excited for Penta to be in this Fatal 4-Way. He is my pick. He is my pick to walk out as the Intercontinental Champion. As much as I love Braun Breaker, all four of these men deserve, and I wouldn't even be mad if any of the other three walk out with the IC title. I'd be happy if Braun retains, Finn wins, or Dom wins, but I just think Penta, the way they've built him up leading to this WrestleMania, makes me believe that he will walk out as the champion. And I think that would add more animosity between Finn and Dom, because they did A, B, C, X, Y, Z to each other in this Fatal 4-Way that pissed each other off even more than they had been. And it didn't even work for either of them. They both lose, and they both just are even more mad. And I think that will add more to Dom and Finn than either of them winning the title, even though I wouldn't be mad if they did. Now, Braun Breaker, he's been pretty okay. I feel like they've regulated him a lot to the Netflix, like, commercial segments a lot more. I feel like I don't see him as much. Now, they have featured him more in the last few weeks on the actual TV, where I don't have to, oh man, Netflix on commercials, and my chat's like, oh my god, Braun Breaker segment that you're not seeing, because they always let me know what I can't see, because it's really annoying. Since I'm in the US, I get commercials, I don't see what the fuck's happening in these segments. So I feel like Braun Breaker was regulated a lot this year once they moved to Netflix to those Netflix commercial segments. So it was a bummer that his reign kind of felt, you know, fodder, afterthought going into the Netflix era. But now his reign has gotten they did a little bit more with him going into Mania, but I really don't feel like they've done enough to make me believe that he's going to retain. So Penta walks out as Intercontinental Champion. What do you guys think about that Fatal 4-Way? And now what has been changed to a Sin City street fight. The former Pirate and Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, they will be battling it out. Now, a lot of people, when the Royal Rumble came and we saw Drew McIntyre get eliminated from Damian Priest, realized right away that that was going to be the Mania match. And of course, there was a little controversy during that elimination where Drew McIntyre got heated when he went to the back, mad about people trying to get their stuff in during his own elimination. Obviously, that was LA Knight, and I believe Logan Paul were battling basically in the center of the ring the same time that elimination happened. And the rumor was Drew was mad that kind of took away during his elimination spot, yada yada yada. And Drew actually confirmed that earlier this week during an interview that he got heated. He didn't really go into too much detail, but he did let know that that was a true story. So obviously this led to them starting up the feud. After that, we also saw Damian eliminate Drew in the Elimination Chamber. Both men, of course, didn't win that matchup, so this led to them continuing feuding. And obviously last year at WrestleMania 40, Damian Priest cashed in on Drew after he beat Seth Rollins while he was in the face of CM Punk, and CM Punk ended up beating down Drew, and it led to Damian cashing in. So they have a history, not to even talk about the Judgment Day when Damian was in there feuded with Drew. So there's tons of history between these two men, and I'm actually really excited for this matchup. Of course, the real glass spot where he got chokeslammed, Drew got chokeslammed by Damian, or I guess South of Heaven, on a windshield, and they did the whole spot where CM Punk walked by a few minutes later, and oh god, that was great. But overall, I feel like, yes, this could have been told a little bit better storyline wise. I think they did a good job the last 2 to 3 weeks really building up this matchup. Do I wish they would have put a little bit more time into it? I mean, they have, but I feel like they didn't really give it that love for the WWE crowd leading up to Mania into the last few weeks. But I think it's been more than enough. I think they did more than enough to get me hyped for this matchup, to get you guys hyped for this matchup. And with it now being a street fight, that makes it even that much better. I think this is right now technically our only gimmick match. We have the Fatal 4-Ways and the Triple Threat, which will be no DQ, but I believe this is our only gimmicked match where it has a stipulation to it where it's Sin City street fight. So I think that on top of the feud being pretty good the last few weeks will make this match a really good matchup. And at the end of the day, I feel like this one has actually been really tough to pick on who I think is going to win, but I think Drew McIntyre is going to get the win here. I think that he needs that big win at Mania. I mean, he won last year, but he immediately lost. So I think that he's going to get redemption for getting cashed in on last year, and he's going to walk out the winner against Damian Priest. Now, an interesting feud that we've had building here between Bianca Belair Io Sky, and now Rhea Ripley is in this match. It is a triple threat for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania. Now, they did something pretty shocking, and they had Rhea lose to Io earlier this year after Belair had won the Elimination Chamber, which was not expected on my end. I really thought we were going to get Rhea Bianca one-on-one, and then eventually they slowly added Rhea into the match. Rhea cost herself that match. She initially was blaming everyone else but herself. She distracted herself when she had Io on the top rope. She started talking smack to Bianca, talking to her on the outside, which led to her getting distracted, which led to Io being able to pull off the victory and win the Women's World title. And Rhea went on to blame everyone but herself for that, when it was clearly her own fault for distracting herself with Bianca Belair's presence. She was blaming Belair for just sitting ringside. Belair was there because she won the chamber. She was going to be facing the winner. So really, it made no point for Rhea to be upset of that she was there in the first place. Pay attention to your match, not the person that was there because they won a different match. I get it. Rhea wanted it to be as fair as possible, but again, that was just her own undoing, and it led to Io winning the title unexpectedly, in my opinion. And it led to what I expected to be a fun match between Belair and Io. And again, I was talking about multi-person matches, especially for titles at Mania. Again, I feel the same way here, but I feel like they've done a pretty good job at telling this story. I just felt like they could have gotten to Rhea being added a lot sooner than they did. They had Rhea Ripley attacking both women. They had them basically making Io feel like the afterthought, even though she was Women's World Champion. They were shoving her out of the way anytime Belair and Rhea would get in each other's face, making it all about them two and just leaving out the world champion, because Rhea just was mad at Bianca for being ringside. So it just led to them two always fighting about it. Eventually, it led to Rhea Ripley putting her own name on the contract. Then it led to a rematch with Io for the title, and all this other stuff happened. And I just really feel like they should have just added Rhea as soon as she signed her name on that contract. Instead of going through all this other stuff, we knew it was going to the triple threat. Just get to it sooner at that point. So at the end of the day, pretty decent build. I really wish at the end of the day it was Belair and Rhea. And again, that's no hate to Io, because at the end of the day, the person I have winning this match is Io Sky. I got Io retaining over both Bianca and Rhea. Now, this one, I'm not 100% sure, but that is my pick. I would say I'm like 75% sure Io wins, and I'm like another 20% sure that maybe Rhea wins, and then like 5% Bianca wins. I really am sure it's going to be Io, but I think Rhea could pull it off and win it back. Maybe Bianca does. I don't fucking know, but that's my prediction. Io Sky, pretty decent build. They've made Io feel like the afterthought, which has made me think that's why she's going to pull off the win. Rhea and Bianca making it about themselves, kind of just making Io feel like she's not there. So Io is going to get that win. I feel like 100%. She lost last year to Bayley. I think she wins this year and retains her Women's World Championship. And our main event of night 2, Cody Rhodes, John Cena for the WWE Championship. Of course, John Cena won the Men's Elimination Chamber to get this spot. He lost to Jade during the Rumble. He was the final two with him to only be eliminated by Jey Uso, but he gets his shot against Cody Rhodes. But not only did he win the Elimination Chamber, he did the one thing that a lot of us never expected for him to do again, and that was be heel. Of course, some interesting stuff happened with The Rock. He wanted Cody's soul. Travis Scott was there at Elimination Chamber. Cody declined by telling Rock to go fuck himself, which was crazy. Eventually, Cena acted like he was happy he didn't pick The Rock to take his soul, and he hugged Cody when The Rock gave him the signal, and Cena low-blowed Cody, and they beat him down, including Travis Scott taking some liberties and giving Cody a black eye and supposedly a busted eardrum. What a great way to start this matchup for Mania. Cena heel for the first time since Doctor of Thugonomics era. Who would have ever thought it? Now, the story buildup after that was rather interesting. They went on the Europe tour. Cena came back for that, cut a few promos, which he garnered a lot of heat, but it felt like he didn't touch the whole topic, including The Rock, for a few weeks there. But it wasn't until their face-to-face in this European tour that really made this feud jump to that next level. And as much as I was already interested in it, despite Cena's promos a few weeks prior, this face-to-face between Cody and Cena really covered everything. I had them going back and forth, demeaning each other, calling each other names, talking about the previous past of each other's careers, bringing up what they're going to do to each other. Finally, Cody also brought up The Rock and how he sold his soul to The Rock. But that was all we've gotten for The Rock so far. With this being the go-home week, and we got Monday Night Raw still and SmackDown going into Mania, we got Cena this Friday, but do we get The Rock? It feels like we're missing a big piece of what started this heel turn, and we really feel like if he doesn't get him involved before it might be, I don't know, like we're just missing that puzzle piece. Obviously, he'll more than likely be there at Mania. I'll be shocked if Rock is not there at Mania in some way, shape, or form with Travis Scott, and they try to get involved in this matchup. I really think that they're going to try to help Cena win. I don't think it'll work. I think that Cody Rhodes will do what he wants to do, defeat John Cena at WrestleMania, be that big baby face. I mean, he's been the big baby face for years now, but really get that rub from John Cena. And I think eventually Cena will get 17, but I think it'll be later this year. So I got Cody Rhodes winning against John Cena. I do think we'll see people get involved during this matchup, but I don't think it'll pay off. I think Cody Rhodes is just too big of a baby face right now to have even John Cena, a heel John Cena, dethrone. So Cody Rhodes is walking out of Mania. This build has been great, so he's walking out with that title. Cena is going to realize that selling his soul wasn't the right way and eventually go back face, and I think he'll finally get that 17 and then probably get cashed in on or something right away, because I don't think they're going to keep the title on him long for 17, maybe a month or two. But John Cena loses at Mania. Cody Rhodes retains. Cena will get 17 some other time. But that is my WrestleMania picks. And that's it. I don't think they're going to be adding any other matches to the card. Obviously, they've already announced profits for MCMG for Friday before WrestleMania. Chelsea's in a 6-woman tag with her Secret Service against Kaden Katana and Zelina. There's still a chance, I feel like, that Zelina and Chelsea could get added for the US title, and I really hope it does, even if it's a fucking pre-show match. I feel like we haven't had a WrestleMania pre-show match in years, so fuck, man. Put that one on the card, even if it's not, and they do it the week after or something cool. I really hope that that title gets added to Mania, because Chelsea is probably the best mid-card champion for the women they have right now on the main roster. But what is all your guys' picks? Comment down below on your thoughts on my picks for every single match, as well as let me know who you have walking out of WrestleMania 41 as champions and winners. And also let me know where you think things are going to go from there, because I feel like it's always even harder to predict exactly the storylines following Mania, unless it's a rematch. Besides, you know, it's like it's the start of a whole new year. It's like the start of the offseason for the NFL for the most part, but we don't really have an offseason. We just new season right there next night on Monday Night Raw. So I'm excited. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitch, twitch.tv/HillJosh. Go follow me on Instagram, because that's where the majority of my reactions will be, is on my Instagram, which is It's HillJosh. All these links are down in the description below. Make sure you guys are subbed here on YouTube. Like this video if you like my predictions. Make sure you have the subscribe button checked so you are subscribed, and make sure notifications are turned on, because I do stream reactions here on YouTube as well, guys. Thank you so much for watching this prediction video. WrestleMania week, let's go!